Where's my thingamabob? Oh. What's up, guys? We're just waiting on a few people to join, and we'll get this thing started. Oh, shit. Let us start off singing ball vibration. I got this in Vietnam. Hello from New York. Hello, Akira. What is up? It's pretty cool, huh? I remember Adam using this on me when we dropped 1PLSD for our collaboration, and I just wanted one immediately. How's it going, bro? From Maine here. Where's Maine? I'm gonna Google it. Where's Maine? Ah, in the US. Okay. No. Sorry. No, it is in the US. Cool. What is the... I liked when Adam almost friend your brain with his. Huh? What does that mean? What is the bowl used for? Oh, I guess it can be used for meditation, mindfulness. Some people would say it raises your vibration. I don't know about that, but it's a good meditation, I think. Especially if you have a crazy monkey mind. It's just something easy to focus on, especially when you have to do this motion. So, yeah, meditation for noobs. Do you watch CG Kid? I do. We actually did a podcast together, but me, because I'm a dildo, I forgot to record the video, so I only got an audio version. So I'm going to release it on my Patreon early, and then eventually I'm going to put it on iTunes, and we're going to re-record our podcast so it's in video form. Yeah, no, I definitely resonate with what he's doing. He's very open-minded, grounded, and I don't know, I like him. He's a good guy. Fried. Oh, I liked when Adam almost fried your brain with his. Yeah, no shit, huh? My brain definitely did get a little bit fried after that experience. Hello, SPXCECDET, a new tribe member of our Discord channel. Welcome. Yeah, I'm just getting... It's really hard, like, when you're learning a new platform like Discord, because it's like this whole new thing, and I'm like, when it comes to social media, I think that Instagram and YouTube, which are the only two social media that I actually put time and effort in, it's like even that can be a bit of a head fuck. So now I've added this other platform, but I don't know, I like Discord. It's pretty cool. Your video about changing associations with certain habits is helping me so much in life. That's really cool. Which video are you talking about in particular? Yeah, I'm definitely going to get more into... I'm actually... Guys, I'll tell you what's really exciting is that I'm moving out with Yesenia in 6 days. And I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. Man, I wanted to move out. I remember ever since I was in high school, but because I was always studying and working, it just didn't really work out. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll just live with mom for a while, just so I can support myself with the studying and all that. And I started this YouTube thing, so I had to, like, I quit my full-time job, which was paying me quite well, so I could put more time and effort into this. And I knew I had to, like, sacrifice a bit more time and delay moving out just so I can do this. And now it's finally the time has finally come. Yeah, it's gonna be really cool, especially having your own space and really having that freedom to do what you want. It's cool. I'm very excited. Oh, I really wish I could stay, but here is 12:06 a.m. and I need to wake up at 6 a.m. Good night. Have a lucid dream. I'll meet you in Machu Picchu. But I'm not going to sleep, so I actually scrap that. Yeah, sorry guys. Like when it comes to live streams, I only do it when I like. It's always spontaneous. It's like, I feel like doing a live stream, having a bit of a chat, and then it happens. So I never really plan it, and it's always going to stay that way. So sorry. And there's obviously going to be a time that's more convenient for myself, and unfortunately, Australia's time zone is just very different to the rest of the world. Unfortunately. Congrats. Awesome. Thank you, Austin. It's called Why Is Changing So Hard? I remember that video. That's an old school one. Yeah, cool. Glad it helped you. Relationship goals AF. Yeah. Yeah, Yesenia is awesome. I'm definitely very lucky to find her. And it's like, I don't know, because she's one of those people that's like, she's my best friend, my soulmate, my lover, my girlfriend, just everything, companion. It's very rare to find someone like that who resonates on so many levels, and not just like on the personality, because like personality wise, we're actually very different people in many regards. Of course, we have some similarities, but it's like on that core level, and when it comes to like values, that's when we really resonate. How much people do you think psychedelics helped ancient people and even modern people? I think that psychedelics probably helped ancient people more so than modern people, and this is because, like, yes, in a lot of ways, we live in the safest time in human history, and you know, we have all these, I don't know, conveniences, and we have these technological masterpieces and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to psychological disorders, right, we're like the most fucked up we've ever been, right? Depression, anxiety, and the whole slew of mental disorders is as high as it's ever been. And psychedelics can worsen these kind of states. Whereas, like, at least people back in the day, we were more connected with nature, more in tune with the earth. We were more grounded in Eastern philosophy. And I'm generally speaking, of course. But we were more, I don't know, I believe that we had a stronger emotional, mental, and spiritual foundation, so that when we did have psychedelic experience, we're able to bring back more and integrate into this reality. Whereas nowadays, it's like, all right, let's say you fly to Peru, you have this crazy ayahuasca experience, changes your life, it turns your reality upside down. But then now you got to go back to your corporate job. You have this lifetime of fucked up habits, watching TV every single day, eating processed food, and your environment and your vessel isn't it doesn't have that foundation to be able to handle and integrate a psychedelic experience. So a lot of times, because this divine fluid can be so overwhelming, it can fracture our sense of self and leave us more confused in the long run. And especially when we don't understand the nature of self, ego, reality, it can build our spiritual ego. And remember that, like, the more ego deaths you have, the stronger your ego has to come back to be able to resist it. It's like building a muscle at the gym. The heavier the weight you build, you're tearing your muscle fibers. Your muscles are like, all right, Tom's lifting a lot of weights. I better come back stronger so I can handle it the next time. And it happens with your ego. That's why having too many ego deaths is not a great thing, in my opinion. I think it's good on the start of your journey, especially to crack you open, emotionally speaking, and to perceive other realities and see that there is more to life than what you perceive and all that. That's great. It's just when you have it too much, it can actually build your ego more so. And yeah, it'll make your path a little bit harder. I got to buy one of these shirts. Yes, you should. Link in description. Oh no, I'm Logan Paul. What have I done? Oh shit, I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't mean to come to this place. Nah, get some merch. It's good for you. Enlightenment. Do you think enlightenment is actually something humans can reach, or is it a goal we set, but we don't learn from the journey from it? And thank you for reminding me, going to my point. And the thing with enlightenment as well, not that I'm enlightened, so I don't want to come across like, let me tell you what enlightenment is. But enlightenment isn't like, according to the studying that I've made and these gurus and a lot of ancient spiritual texts and these prophets that I've read, and from what I've gathered, enlightenment is a very subtle process. And it seems like the last or the later stages of enlightenment is reaching absolute stillness, right? And being an enlightenment, from what I gather, is being less resistant to what is, right? So sometimes, and I don't like, when it comes to psychedelics and enlightenment, there has never been a person in history who has been enlightened from psychedelics. It can't happen out of principle. It's just too much, because psychedelics like amplify your state of consciousness in all ways, right? So it can amplify your higher self, your emotional self, your mental self, but it also amplifies your egoic self. And it's just too much chaotic energy that we know what to deal with. So it's actually a very, very egoic experience in a lot of ways. Now, it depends on the individual whether or not they're going to have they're going to lead towards more an egoic, delusional experience or a more truthful, pure experience. But that's why it's important to build up your foundation. Because like with enlightenment, there's like, you can have glimpses of enlightenment, which I think I'm assuming that most of us have, especially with the psychedelic experience, or maybe you've had it through meditation or lucid dreaming or whatever. You can have a glimpse of it, but that's not gaining, that's not like being enlightened. It's just having a little bit of a sneak peek. But to actually embody that, it's a lifetime journey, man. And it's a lot more subtle than what people may think, I believe. Anyways. Oh, some South Americans here. Bueno, ¿cómo estamos? Oh, shit. Falling behind the comments. You're making me lonely. Why am I making you lonely? Or are you letting me make you lonely? Also, why do you in particular think they're illegal? Because they really help me. Oh, there's so many reasons why they're illegal. I think a part of it is because it just promotes too much out of the box thinking, which may go against conventional wisdom, which may kind of fuck with corporations and capitalism, stuff like that. That's one way of it. I also think that because they can genuinely be incredibly dangerous, and I think like the worst case scenario of psychedelics is a lot more terrifying than any other drug. You know what I mean? Like I don't agree with this. I'm just saying like, no, how do I say this? It's like, I don't think that the fact that psychedelics can be dangerous is the reason why they're illegal. But I think that's what the government and society has clung on to as a scapegoat to make that push and make it illegal. And it's a very valid reason, because like the worst case scenario on psychedelics is a lot more terrifying than crack cocaine and heroin and all that kind of stuff. Because worst case scenario with those drugs, it's like, all right, you get addicted, you get fucked up, and you can die and overdose, right? That's worst case scenario. But with psychedelics, it's like worst case scenario, which of course it's very rare, but it can happen. And it's happened in countries like Chile. You Argentinians may know what I'm talking about. How they can do some satanic rituals and sacrifice a baby or murder someone else or go on a psychotic breakdown for the rest of their life. And seeing that pain and suffering is on a whole other level than any other drug. So it's like the danger of psychedelics isn't as common as other drugs. Of course not. And physically they're safe and blah, blah, blah. But psychologically and spiritually, they can be the most dangerous. And I think when people have seen that glimpse of the dark side of psychedelics, it is so fucking terrifying that it's like, it's hard not to look at it that way and like, fuck, how can we make this legal? You know, I'm just brainstorming. Maybe it's something to do with this, but yeah. Hey, Tom, greetings from Argentina. Thank you for presenting me to Jordan Peterson, man. Love from Uruguay. Nice. Actually, one of my best buddies is from Uruguay, Felipe. I have a Chilean Felipe friend and a Uruguayan Felipe friend. Patating, patatang. That's a Uruguayan terminology that I learned, which I use all the time. I'm on a break from everything for a while. I need to process and all of that. Love your content though. I eventually want to try DMT, but I'm ages from being ready. Yeah. Okay. Excuse me, guys. Catching up on comments. By the way, last weekend I had this really awesome acid trip. I had ego death, and it was very interesting. I remembered a lot of what you and Adam during the trip, and that helped me to stay calm. That's good. I'm glad you had a good trip. Hay un uruguayo. Ah, hola. Hay un argentino. Bien. I think enlightenment is letting go of suffering. That's definitely one way of putting it. I think that ultimately this spiritual path is about letting go, right? And it just takes, and it's a process. It takes layers, right? And just being resistant, less resistant to what is. That's like the ultimate state, I suppose. I don't want to say goal because I don't know. Do psychedelics live up to the hype everyone has put on them? Most definitely not. I thought they did. I made a channel because of it, and I don't regret it. I mean, it's helped me in terms of it's helped me learn a lot about myself for sure. But in terms of starting this YouTube channel, fuck, just the amount of people that I've met and the skills that I've learned on this journey have been priceless. So I don't regret any of it, guys. Definitely not. Have you been feeling any more noticeable positive effects from the supple, or is it an experience? Yeah, it's an experience. Like I said in the documentary, it helped me let go of some particularly sadness and existential sorrow that I was holding on to, but I was in the later stages of this existential crisis for the most part, like the most toxic process of it. So it's like a thing of like, yeah, maybe the Campbell helped, but it was also timing as well. And I've been doing the work relentlessly for like 9 months prior. So it's hard to say. But apart from that, and physically speaking, nah, I feel the same, to be fair. Because you keep talking about your girlfriend that amplified my loneliness. Don't be sad. Like, there's always a duality to it. Like, yeah, I have like my perfect soulmate, but there's always a dark side to that, like the pain and suffering that I am going to go through, or what she will go through when one of us has to leave this dimension, is going to be unfathomable. You know what I mean? So, hey, from Ireland, when was your last trip and how often do you trip? I've made a video on this. Go check your mate Tom. I don't trip anymore, and my last trip was a year ago, almost a year ago. Yeah, Iboga, right? Yes, exactly. Ouch! I got to take a break from watching the Bitcoin charts. Yes, it's too stressful. Hey Tom, I'm 16. I've done LSD over 10 times in the last 2 years. Thinking of trying DMT. Any thoughts? I've done a ton of meditation as well. I am personally against kind of underage people taking psychedelics at all. And you can say, oh, yeah, but I've had some good experiences. Yeah, but you could have better, more richer experience if you just wait until you're a bit older, because it takes, like, your prefrontal cortex isn't even fully developed until you're like 26, 25. And if you've already done LSD 10 times, I would say maybe take a break for a fair few years. And DMT is very intangible as well. Like, practically speaking, I think DMT is not the greatest psychedelic. Just from what I have researched and observed in people, I feel like DMT is one of the least practical and healing substances. Because it's too much. Like, think about it. You're smoking this spirit molecule. You're getting launched outside your body into this hyperspace in these alien dimensions and meeting entities, and then you come back and you're like, what the fuck was that? You might, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very unlikely that you're going to bring something tangible from that experience. And then it depends, and especially if you're like 16, like, what the fuck are you going to get from DMT, man? Yeah, I would suggest staying away from psychedelics at the very least for another almost 10 years, since you've already done it 10 times. Yeah, 10 years, I would say. Hang on, I'll read your question, Akira, but just let me hit that yeet. Hey, Tom, I'm 9 years old and I have injected LED and cannabis over 16 times and thinking of trying caffeine. I don't know, man. Caffeine's pretty dangerous. Just keep injecting that LED and cannabis. I'm assuming you mean LSD. Any advice for a person who wants to help people through plant life, Mother Aya for a living? It's a lonely journey. Yeah, I couldn't think of a more challenging, isolating journey than being a shaman. And if it's really, really, really your calling, and it would depend, like I would say that you should have at least 10 years of experience of not only having ayahuasca yourself, but being in a retreat setting and having experience of seeing at least hundreds and hundreds of people going through the whole spectrum of experiences, so you know what to do if you know when shit's the fan. Yeah, it's a tough journey. I would say be careful. Maybe wait a few years, get a lot of experience, and just keep in mind that there are a lot of people who go into that world and then come out the other side with the conclusion of like, actually, you know what? Plant medicine can only take you so far, and it can be a very egoic kind of practice. And I've met a lot of people who were really into it, and then kind of went 180 from it. Because it can only help so much, you know what I mean? And then if you're going there, like the more you do ayahuasca, the more open you're going to be to other dimensions, both positive and negative. Remember that. So where there is light, there is shadow, especially, and the less you integrate that shadow, the more intense and terrifying it's going to be. So it's just be careful. Is all I would say. It's not for everybody, and you'd have to dedicate your whole freaking life to that. And if that sounds like for you, like it's ticking all the boxes and you resonate with everything that I'm saying, then yeah, go for it. Only you know. Probably going to become a mystic or yogi when I'm in control of my life. Well, I don't know how much control you have of your life. The only thing you really have control over is your mind and your reaction to things. Any relationship advice in this journey? Step outside your ego and freaking listen. Don't try caffeine. Caffeine, trust me, you're not ready. You're not ready, man. Caffeine's hardcore shit. 5-MeO DMT is nothing compared to caffeine. I think psychedelics' legal place should be in a therapy setting rather than self-medicated. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Hey, bruv, where's some nice nature spots? Oh, shit. Hang on. Sorry about my potty mouth, guys. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to cut down. Because I live in Australia, it's just ruined my vocabulary. And I'm trying to get the bogan out of me. And only swear when it's like kind of effective. And hey, bro. Okay, where's some nice nature spots in Melbourne? Gonna be there in 2 weeks and want to chill and field record some nature sounds. Weird question, I know. No, not a weird question. Go to like the Dandenong Ranges in the outer eastern suburbs of Melbourne. Absolutely beautiful. There's a place called 1,000 Steps. Even just from that place, there's so many other treks that go all these different, these beautiful sites. There's also, I'm just so crap with names, man. Check out Lysterfield Lake. That's pretty cool. Anywhere, actually, just go anywhere like outer eastern suburbs in Victoria. You will find everything. It's amazing. I love it. I'll be trip setting 2 friends that are taking LSD tomorrow. Any advice? Just hold space. Don't protrude your reality onto them. And if someone starts having a difficult time, take them to another room or change the music or something like that. But just hold space. Yeah, that's it. Why is weed good at first, then just confuses you, or is it just me? Well, it's like, maybe this has something to do with the nature of duality, and the more you do something, it's like the benefits start to get less, and it starts to lean more towards the negative side of things. And it's like that's why it's like everything in moderation, including moderation. Because anything can be bad if you do it too much, even spirituality. Your mate Tom 2018. Okay. Why? Do you believe in telepathy? Me and my friend had an experience where we felt like we could communicate with each other for a brief moment before we both pulled away in shocking amazement. Yeah, I believe in telepathy to a certain extent. I think that the collective belief system of that being false affects our ability to tap into that. You know, and if you believe in the kind of consciousness transcends the human mind and we're just kind of tapping into these different realities, then sure, maybe two people can kind of tune in to a similar frequency and resonate with each other, and then they can read each other's thoughts. I think it's possible, for sure. Why not? You already have all the control you need. Oh, excuse me. Oh, so sore. I just went to the gym today. What different strands of shrooms have you tried? Would you recommend or wish you tried? I've only tried the one strand, the Psilocybe subaeruginosa, which grows in Victoria. I recently bought the book Shambhala, The Sacred Path of the Warrior. Looking forward to reading it on vacation next week. Nice. I haven't heard of it. Well, if it's worth a read, then send us a message. Why is LSD such a weird experience? Emotions and ideas seem so transparent, and I always see some other intentions on what people says. Well, it's like with any psychedelics, it just opens you up to many aspects of reality that the human mind can't comprehend. And psychedelic experience is such a chaotic experience where it kind of just releases this chaotic energy throughout your entire being, where it's like a fucking crazy interdimensional roller coaster, where it's like it's even hard just to grab some concepts and bring it back. Well, it's no wonder it's weird. And I think, hang on a sec. Let me hit that yeet. All right. We got a New Zealander, 2 New Zealand dollars. Does LED, I'm assuming you mean LSD, and caffeine help with social anxiety? I couldn't imagine caffeine helping with social anxiety. It would just make it more, I feel like it could just exacerbate it more, like kind of intensify it, I mean. Because it's a stimulant. Whereas anxiety, you're like when you're in an anxious state, your heart rate's already increasing, your breath is getting shallower, and doesn't caffeine or any stimulant just kind of make it even make you more anxious? Yeah, definitely not caffeine. LSD, in some cases, but if you have social anxiety, it will most likely just amplify it. In most cases, I would say that LSD definitely did not help with social anxiety. And I say that because every kind of psychedelic meetup I've ever been to, and where people are like, kind of psychedelic enthusiasts, and people who I meet that does a lot of LSD usually have the most social issues. Generally speaking, of course, these are tools which you can use them to worsen your life or better your life. But just generally speaking, I don't think it does. I think it can, but I think it's rare. Yeah. Yeah, there's better things to do for social anxiety than drugs. Drugs is not the answer for social anxiety. It will most likely just make it worse, actually. Because then you're relying on an outside substance to put you in a state which you already have access to, right? And it will just further bury that part of yourself more and more. Do you ever get tired of all the psychedelic-related questions? I do when it's a raw spirituality. Let me rewind. I do when it's like on a channel like this, where I created it kind of just to get away from all that psychedelic stuff. That's why I don't do live streams on Your Mate Tom. Sometimes I get tired of psychedelic related questions. I'd rather more about life or philosophy, psychology, spirituality. Things that are more useful. This doesn't mean don't ask me questions about psychedelics. I don't mind. Sometimes when it gets a little bit much and I'm like, yeah, like I'll do it, I'll answer it. But sometimes, yeah, I do get a bit over it, especially with the same questions, and especially on this channel when it's not a psychedelic channel at all. Hey bro, I visited the quarry the other weekend for the first time with the family. Nice spot, but it seems a little too public to trip on shrooms. Wouldn't you get a bit paranoid there? Last time I went there, it wasn't a public place. It was actually fenced off, and you had to like sneak under the fence to get to the quarry. So it was not a public place, and it was very little people there. It looks a lot nicer now, but yeah, it's more public. So no, definitely I wouldn't trip on shrooms there now. It was just back in the day. My friend, any advice on how to let go? I always try to keep it in mind when I trip that I'm gonna come back, but I was unconsciously attached to my ego. Letting go. Well, first of all, just go to your breath. Try to relax all your body parts, and go to the place where it's given you discomfort, whether it's anxiety or a physical discomfort, like a tight shoulder, because everything is interrelated. Remember that. Don't think of an injured leg as nothing to do with the core of your very being. It's always, everything is related to something. So anyway, so when you do these letting go meditation, you focus on a place and just be aware of it, and you'll see just it kind of dissolve, and you just practice that over and over and over again. And you focus on, it's like a mindfulness meditation technique where you focus on the ending transition. For example, like let's say if I'm breathing in and out, my awareness would be at that time when my breath actually stops, and then your brain gets more used to it, and then you see that everything that's uncomfortable will eventually end, and you reprogram your mind. That's just one time. It's a whole, like, how to let go is literally a fucking life journey, and there's a lot more to it. This is just one little tip I can share. Thoughts on nihilism, in the sense that it is impossible for humans to really know anything about reality. Oh fuck, what is reality? Thoughts on nihilism. I don't think it's a practical philosophy. Just from what I observe. Yeah, sure, you can go into the universe is meaningless and everything's mechanical and random and determined and all that kind of stuff. And if you believe in that, of course, you're going to recreate that reality in your mind, which for most people is going to push you further into the void, into that emptiness. Whereas the approach that I like to take it, and I've been in a very deep state of nihilism, especially after this existential crisis. So I know inside out exactly, like I understand how they feel about reality. I get it, but it's not practical. And there was always meaning and purpose to life. And you can't just assume that, oh, it's all meaningless. Oh, this reality is an illusion. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's a cheap trick of the rational mind to sweep this reality under the rug because it's so painful in a lot of ways, right? Like, it's easy to just say, oh, this isn't real. Oh, it's all meaningless. Oh, yeah, of course I fucking... Like, let's just put it this way. This is what Jordan Peterson talks about, and I like his approach to it. Is like, look at pain and suffering. Without a doubt, no matter what belief system you adopt, whether you're Hindu, Catholic, atheist, nihilistic, whatever it is, we can all agree that pain and suffering is very real, right? Or at least feels very real. And if we can live this life to minimize suffering and make this world a better place for not only yourself and everybody else, I would say that's a pretty meaningful life, you know? So I'm just getting distracted because someone just put €5 to ask a question. Yeah. Are you afraid to die? Asked by Mario Seaman. It's like I am thinking every day about the last minutes of my life and how this will feel. Okay. Well, to really get deep into this, I would need to talk to you one-on-one and see where you're at. But it seems that you may be stuck in what Tibetan Buddhism would call bardo, I think it is, right? Where you're acutely aware of the transitory nature of reality. You're so aware and emotionally attached that nothing lasts. And this obviously provides a lot of pain and suffering. Even all the good things in life just makes you even more bummed out because you know it's going to end and you're going, right? Now, I don't know how you got into this state, but remember that this is not something that you can weasel your way out using the rational mind. That's how people get into nihilism, and then they project that reality to everybody else. It all starts with now this is a long process, and I'm not going to promise that after me explaining this, oh, you're going to be okay. It's like, oh, okay. It's a long process, right? And I don't know how you got to this state where maybe you had a bad psychedelic trip, or maybe it was just relentless logic. But I would say that your emotional body is stuck in the void. It sounds like it. And what you need to do is like focus on your emotional state, because your emotional state is like the radio frequency that you're at. And that's going to, like, you know what I mean? Like, let's say you're in an emotional state of despair, right? What do you think the quality of thoughts you're going to attract, right? Because that's the radio signal you're in. So you're going to attract all of the thoughts related to despair and hopelessness and what's the point? We're all fucked and blah, 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 blah. So it all starts with you changing your emotional state. Now, how do you work on your emotional state if you're so stuck on this? You got to start with the basics. And I hate it when people say this, especially when I was in a state like that. But it seriously all starts with just cleaning out the clutter in your mind first, by cleaning your room. I know, very Jordan Peterson. Yeah. But start with that. Cold showers, Wim Hof breathing, get to your breath. Your breath is everything. And think about, the thing what's so amazing about breath is that it stays with you until the day you die. It's the first thing that you consciously do and the last thing that you consciously do, right? It's breathe. And think about every emotional state that you're going, whether it's sadness. What happens? Your breath changes. When you're anxious, your breath gets more shallower. When you're sad, when you're angry, when you're this, you're that, your breath will always change and match to the emotional frequency of your state. So if you can control your breathing, and I'm not saying that, if you control your breathing, everything will, no, it's a fucking process. And I don't know what you've done in your life to get to this stage. Maybe it was a lifetime of bad habits. Maybe it was too many psychedelics, which fucked up your energetic system. Maybe you tried to jump to ahead in this spiritual progress and your physical vessel didn't have the foundation to be able to handle that. Now your sense of self is all fractured, and maybe your soul, in a sense, is just tethered off to this reality, and you're in the void, because this is what happened to me. Fuck, where was I going with that? If anyone can remind me where I was going with that point, I would much appreciate it. Right. Sorry. So you might have had a lifetime of bad habits that structured your brain in a way that has made you in this predicament that you're in. So it's going to take a long time to get to a healthy state where you're going to have meaning and purpose. And it starts with meaning and purpose is definitely important. And that can be, it doesn't have to be a huge thing. You know what I mean? Like, you could volunteer helping people who have mental health issues or something like that, if you're emotionally strong for that. Because if you're not, then that could make it worse. But just, I don't know, maybe volunteering or helping someone, stepping outside yourself. That's the first step that will always help. And just the little everyday things, especially working on your physical state and your emotional state. This is where cold showers, like if you have a cold shower, it is going to change your state immediately, guaranteed. Now, the extent of how much it changes and how positive you'll feel afterwards all depends on the individual, but it will definitely help. Yeah, okay, we'll just stick with that. Oh shit, I got so many questions. Ali Joanne. What's up, Tom? It's your friend Paracosm. Here's a couple bucks because I know you're right as fuck. Keep on keeping on and have a good fucking day. You're a legend. Thank you very much. I should do more. I tell you what's actually hilarious is that I've made more money on this one live stream than I have with the documentaries, which take me fucking months to make. Hilarious. Okay, now I've got a lot of questions here now. Jesus. You don't know what I'm going through. I don't know if that was directed to me. No, I don't. I'm just fucking guessing and can only relate to my experience. Life is an illusion. Our brain generated from data from these 5 inputs. Life is definitely not an illusion. The only thing that's an illusion is our sense of separateness. But our experience, it's fucking real. Again, if I stab you on the foot, you're gonna fucking feel it. No, because I think the thing about calling life an illusion is just again, It's a cheap trick of the rational mind and this spiritual ego belief system that just it's nothing's real. Duality is an illusion, all this kind of stuff. And I went through that path, guys, and it won't bring you on a good path in the long run. Again, we have to face the nature of self, right? Which includes a lot of dark shit as well. Oh, right. Sorry to go back to your question as well before going on that last rant. Are you afraid to die? I'm afraid of the dying process for sure. Yeah. And I've definitely been in very, very long, horrific states of existential terror. And I've been exactly where you have. But these days, for the most part, not really. That's because I don't really think about it. And another thing as well, before I move on, answer someone else's question, is focus on the mundane, everyday things. You know what I mean? Stay away from existential philosophy, anything that puts you further into your mind, anything that puts you further in this contemplative mood about the universe. You know what I mean? Do some gardening, walk the dog, help your mum do the dishes. Seriously, it'll help. It'll help you a lot. Ah, Human. I like your name. Thank you for the €1. Breathing is the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, simply because breathing can happen with both. That's a good way to put it. Thank you, A Potato. I feel like I've dug myself in a hole with those bad habits. Yeah, but just be grateful that it's a hole and not a never-ending pit, which has been sealed off from this reality forever. You're still here, at least, right? Trust me, it can get a lot worse. And I know sometimes that can make someone feel bad, like, fuck, it can get worse than this. Just start putting your focus into hope and light. Start to feel better. You know, surround yourself with, it doesn't have to be me, but just someone who's gone through what you've gone through and can articulate this process, right? Yes, you might have done all these fucked up habits, which has put you into this hole, but there is a way out of it. If I got out of my hole, trust me, you can too. Then use a shovel and slowly dig your way out. There you go. Exactly. I know this is a weird question, but why do people say that? Why is it a weird question? What question? Fuck. It's not a weird question. Anyways, what are your thoughts on masturbation and how it affects us spiritually? I think that masturbation can greatly hinder our spiritual growth. And this is coming from like, it's hard for me to admit, but I'm like struggled with masturbation and porn addiction my whole life. And I can tell you, put it this way. What are you doing when you're masturbating, right? First of all, like, especially if you're doing it to porn, like porn is straight up fucked up for you. And they've done so many scientific studies on this. I'm not saying this in a preachy way, because sometimes who doesn't like porn, right? But the first step is to at least admit to yourself that it's not good for you. But porn is definitely bad for you. It's fucked up for your brain and can lead to a lot like erectile dysfunction and a whole. Go do the research. It's really fucked up. Masturbation, you got to think of semen, how it's like literally a life force. Like it creates life. We're all fertilized with semen, right? So when you're masturbating and you're just putting this incredible amount of life force for nothing into your hand just to wash it down the drain, it affects your energy, affects your confidence, your anxiety, especially if you're going through existential problems. No fap can help. But yeah, I think that, like, and I don't want to say like black and white masturbations, but I think porn is definitely bad. Like there is a black and white when it comes to that. Masturbation, I think for the most part, if you can hold yourself out for it, the better, because then the more energy you will have, confidence, and you'll be able to go into this spiritual state, like higher states of consciousness, a lot easier. And if you look at old Eastern spirituality, they all emphasize on not masturbating to preserve your energy. All right. life isn't an illusion, but it is a dream in a sense. Since we're here, then we're not, and then there's millions of different interpretations of reality. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. Mr. Quick. Like, I'm not saying that life is the ultimate reality, but it is the divine reality for human beings. That's why we're here. Or that's what I choose to believe, anyway. Believe, like my voice breaking. It's a teenage pubescent boy. But yeah, it's a good way to put it. Yeah, definitely life is a dream. It's only one tiny aspect of reality. But for us, for the ego, for human beings, yeah, it's a very valid, divine part of reality. This life is about working with your ego, but lots of people fall for the trap of running away from the ego. Exactly. That's why having constant ego deaths is actually the most egotistical experience you can have, because it's only the ego that wants to get rid of the ego. You get me? It's a paradox. Yeah. And like I said, and the more you have ego deaths, the stronger your ego is going to come back without you even knowing. And then once the ego starts spiritual bypassing and using all these practices to strengthen itself and dilute itself even further and project this bullshit onto reality and start preaching it to everybody else, oh, that is like the most dangerous trap you can fall into. And I can talk from experience, myself, and many, many, many people who I know in this field. It does not end pretty. Got to be vigilant. Any theories on what happens after death, like reincarnation? Not that it matters now because we're all alive now. Like there is, I don't really want to get into it right now because it's all speculation, it's all mind. I don't know. And I like talking about this stuff, don't get me wrong, but there's just a lot of other questions. Maybe I'll get back to it. Life shouldn't be taken personally. Your ego keeps you attached, and you can't really experience that bliss from non-attachment unless you refine your energetic system. Other than that, it's all mental fap. Let me read it again. Life shouldn't be taken personally, right? Your ego keeps you attached, and you can't really experience that bliss from non-attachment unless you refine your energetic system. Other than that, it's all, yes, exactly. That's why going back to, let's say, having these, chasing the spiritual experience, especially with psychedelics, for example, it will just bloat your ego more and more and more and more and more, and actually take you further away from reality, because what you're doing is that you're adding to your experience. You're gaining more knowledge, more insights, killing your ego so it comes back even stronger, and you're doing this over and over and over again. But if you want to be like non-attached to reality as much as possible, it's about letting go all these things, you know. Hey bro, I can relate. I used to beat my little guy every day. Dude, I used to beat my guy, like, that sounds so bad. But no, I used to whack off like 3 times a day. I was really bad. Really, really bad. From the very first day I discovered masturbation, I have been hooked since. And it's only after this, actually, yeah, since this like tail end of this existential crisis, and especially because I take my health seriously, and especially this letting go process and this non-attachment, but trying not to be too attached to the non-attachment. But anyways, it has helped me a lot, and I've been taking NoFap more seriously. Like, I still do it, but definitely not every day, not even every couple days. It's only when it's like it's too much for me to handle. And I have a girlfriend, so I have sex, which definitely helps. But at least with sex, and I know some people are going to be like, oh, but sex, you're still using this energy. It's like, yeah, you're right, but I live in a physical dimension, and I have a girlfriend who has sexual needs, and it won't be pretty if I just take that away. And at least I'm transferring that energy to another person. You know what I mean? Instead of just into nothing. Hey, quick question, completely unrelated, but do you accept fan art? I love art, and I'd love to draw something for you and your girlfriend if you're okay with that. Fuck yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, I'll send you. Do it. I'll send you my address, and actually, that would be a cool. I've always wanted to do like a fan mail kind of thing where people can send in their art, and then that way we can grow the community. I can promote your guys' art or whatever that you do. Yeah, that'll be awesome, especially because I'm moving out, so we'll be able to do more video. We'll be more free to do videos, you know. Lol, that nut sound effect. that was the one. Every time I bust a nut, but I see some video like this. If only we can donate with Bitcoin. You can. Oh, but in terms to get your comment up, but you can. I have my Bitcoin address if you really want to. Oh shit. I've fallen behind on the questions. Hey Tom. Hey, what's up? Jose Rodriguez. I like how I've got a few Spanish fans. That's cool. Maybe I should tap into the South American market and just put Spanish subtitles in all my videos. Imagine how much more views and what is it, exposure I'd get. But subtitles cost money, unfortunately. Hi Tom. Have you ever made the connection internally that the beings in the DMT realm are deceiving us and they're actually evil spirits, what we call demons? That is definitely a very valid part of reality, because we see these light beings full of love and light and wisdom and, hey, come with us, hey. But then it's like, deception is a very valid part of reality. So you got to be careful with that kind of shit. And I'm not going to name names, but let me say that I've met many people who are DMT enthusiasts and have told me horrific trip stories. But I mean, like, from their perspective, it's normal and beautiful. But from the outside, I'm like, that's kind of fucked up, dude. Like, you know, where you have a DMT trip, you meet your interdimensional family, and then they're like, hey, come stay with us. And they tell you, like, yeah, if you kill yourself, you can come with us and blah, 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 blah. And then that person comes back completely desevered from this reality and then starts preaching this reality is an illusion. Duality doesn't exist. There is no good and bad. It's like, I don't know, dangerous shit, man. I've met, and again, what's beautiful about this whole channel is that I've gained a lot of perspective, especially because of the audience that I've gained and the amount of people that I've met. And DMT is it can tap you into some really fucking dark shit. And what's even scarier about it is that you may think that it's light and good for you until it's too late, you know? So, yeah. I don't think that they're evil spirits or, like, I don't want to label them evil spirits or demons, or that they're 100% deceiving us. But it can tap you into that reality very easily. And like I said, if you're not spiritually developed in the sense where you've got your emotional, mental, and spiritual foundation, it's just going to be harder to kind of pinpoint what's kind of real, what's bullshit, what's delusion, what's practical. Yeah, it's a tricky waters. Beat that schmeat. Let me hear. Just for you. Oh my God, I've become a prostitute. You literally threw me money and I just started virtually masturbating. Great. Look what I've become, guys. This is what YouTube does. I'm gonna have to quit now. I've gone too far. Too many questions. Yeah, no shit. Thoughts on the McKenna method? Well, first of all, this is a massive paradigm shift that I went through. Don't listen to don't attach yourselves to people's words and belief systems. Instead, actually observe the being that they're emanating, right? Who they're actually being, and then judge their philosophy from that. Terence McKenna, remember that in many ways you could say he was a functioning schizophrenic. He actually died alone, estranged from his family. He got traumatized from mushrooms and never actually did a heavy trip again. So you just look at how his life turned out, and then you make your conclusion from that. Yeah. Life is Mitch. Hey, man, what's up? I like your username. What do you do about ego inflation related to spiritual insight and discovery? I've noticed after experimenting with psychedelics, I think about that peak experience every day. Any advice? Stick with the mundane, everyday things. Yeah, because it's very easy to get lost in the speculative mind, philosophy and existentialism, blah, 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 blah. And if you're too far in that, we're always thinking about it. Ground yourself to earth. Actually, ground yourself, literally. Like, take your shoes and socks off, step in, stand on the ground, sun gaze, let the sunlight hit your whole body. If you can do it naked, even better. Eat clean. What else? Yeah, mundane everyday things. So whether it's, I'm just throwing ideas out there, but it could be gardening or learning a skill or a hobby, playing guitar, cleaning your room, going outside for walks in nature, do like social meetups with people, just something that's grounding you to this reality as much as you can. Especially like whether it's speaking with people, doing mundane tasks, stepping outside in nature, that kind of stuff. If you want to break the chain, you have to make new habit. I'm hungry. I'm gonna have some beans soon. My point being that we are in the middle of a spiritual war against good and evil that's fighting the mind, and that's what we deceived into worshiping the wrong God. Yeah. And I understand for you ultra spiritual people out there when you say there's no such thing as like good or bad, and it's a projection from the mind, which it is. It's 100%. It's a label. But if you do more good things will happen. If you do bad things, it's going to create more suffering and pain in the world, and that's fucked up. So yeah, we kind of should take it more seriously, but we also got to have the bigger picture, because good and bad is like a part of the whole. It gets real. I'm gonna make a video about this in the future. It's too much right now. Same, Justin, my mental health is awful. Didn't realize how horrible real depression is. Yeah, depression can suck. Definitely. Can you make me some food? You should make me some food. What drugs have you done? All of them, except for... all the popular ones, except for heroin, I suppose. And that was only because I was afraid of needles. You can't change because you tell yourself you can't. Everyone can change. It's just a gradual process that we don't like going through. Yeah, exactly. Change is the only constant, right? The beings in the DMT realm, I feel like, are just a dream, like our life is a dream as well. They don't really matter spiritually, to be honest. I never tried DMT, but it's all simulations, so to say, all the divine. Yeah, I would agree. And I know that I used to get pissed off, and I know certain people who are so attached to this whole psychedelic thing, where they'll get so pissed off when someone says something about psychedelics who hasn't had a psychedelic experience. But what you don't understand is like the points can be just as valid. And I agree. I think the DMT realm is just another reality that isn't really like, it can be like this fun thing where you see sunshine and unicorns and these alien entities, and it's like, whoa, that was a cool experience. And then boom, that was the end of that chapter. It's all good. But it can also tap you into some really dark shit, which you can carry into your everyday life. And it's not pretty, guys. Because the thing, how I look at it, it's not like the benefits aren't worth the potential risks, in my opinion, especially because the benefits are something that aren't long lasting, and most times are actually delusional in a lot of ways, especially if you return. Like the benefits can only give you so much, which you can actually surpass the benefits you get from psychedelics without them, right? But without the risk. So it's like, I don't know. And DMT especially, I feel like the more potent the psychedelic, the bigger the downfalls are, and the more delusional it can be, especially because the experience, it feels so real, right? It feels so overwhelmingly real. I know, guys. Remember, I've had a YouTube channel for 3 years preaching psychedelics. I know, but I feel like alcohol is a hard psychedelic, but it's super deceiving. Yeah, alcohol can bring up a lot of your shadow aspects, like the ugly parts of yourself, so to speak, especially if you haven't dealt with them. So then when you get drunk, it just opens you. And remember, alcohol, spirituality, it opens you up to different dimensions. So in a way, yeah, it is a psychedelic, but in not a great way if you get drunk. I'm not sure about my stance of, like, let's say having a glass of wine. I like wine, and of course, different substances are going to affect different people. Like, for example, a lot of people would say that, oh, weed is much better for you than alcohol, right? And in a lot of ways, yeah, of course, without a doubt, and you can scientifically prove it. But remember that science can't prove a lot of things, and they can't measure certain dimensions, especially like energetically, emotionally, and all these kind of things. And sometimes weed could be worse for you than alcohol. I would say that weed is worse for me than alcohol. I don't have like a big problem with weed, but it's easy for me to fall back into the habit, and then it can make me very hazy and kind of fuck up my energetic system and slow down my progress in a lot of ways. Whereas with alcohol, I can confidently have a glass of red wine, never even fathom craving it, and just let it be. You know what I mean? So it depends on your relationship with it. Uh, I currently having an issue with kicking the habit of alcohol because I'm in college and it's throughout the environment. I remember being able to regulate my intake, and now it's just a struggle. Yeah, I get what you mean, man, and it's hard when you're in that environment. Like in Australia, I can completely. Are you Australian by any chance? Let us know. But I understand that feeling of like, if you don't drink here in Australia, you are a weirdo. Like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you drinking? Blah blah blah. Like they actually look at you like you're fucked up and different and a weirdo, and then people will be less reluctant to socialize with you. It's really fucked up. So I empathize deeply with your situation. But remember that you could always, like, if you're in a bar or a pub or whatever, why can't you just drink water and just say it's like fucking vodka and soda or something? Like, you know what I mean? You don't have to drink like crazy either. So don't blame your environment completely. Do you believe that all the being represents an emotional state, and being able to distinguish between the transformative ones and the dicey ones has got to do with emotional awareness and delusion? Hang on a sec. Do you believe that all the being... Oh shit, someone just... Thanks, Marius. I'm sorry, but someone just... Marius, very generous, has donated 42 euros. Fuck. Thank you so much. It definitely encourages me to do more live streams. No, but I'll learn to do live streams when I'm feeling it, and when I move out, it's gonna be beautiful because I can't always do live streams here. I'm just lucky that no one is here right now, and I'm in one of those moods. But wow, thank you, Jesus, well done. I'm so sorry, whoever's question I was on. I just lost your question. Any advice for a lazy 18-year-old going through an existential crisis? Mate. There's a lot of advice, and I went deep into this whole thing. But just one thing that I would say is take your morning ritual of utmost, like, take it seriously, right? Don't go on your phone for the first half an hour of the day, because as soon as you go on your phone, even if it's something as simple as reading an email, your brain gets erratic, and it takes at least 20 minutes for it to rebuild its willpower again. You know what I mean? That's one thing. Make your bed as soon as you get up. Stuff, things like that. I know that we always want a shortcut, but it's seriously like, yeah. Or you can buy this singing bowl from me. Home. And this will help you. I'm already feel more grounded. That was cool. Well said, Tom. Thank you, Mr. Quick. I don't know what exactly you're referring to. I said a lot of things these last few minutes. Any advice for a lazy 18-year-old? That's right. Yeah, just do that. Anyway. The energetic process of killing your ego can be pretty intense, but goddamn, is life beautiful as fuck when you cleared most of your karma. Yeah, I can. I'm still going through the process of removing my thorns, let's say. old baggage. This is important. This is the most important thing that you can do before you even think about enlightenment. And that's, I get, where people make the mistake, a very dire mistake, especially when you're like a kid. You know, you're an 18-year-old kid who's like, all right, cool, you've read Eckhart Tolle, you've read Psychedelics, you may have seen me or Adam talk about it. You're like, yeah, I can do this. You have a spiritual experience, but again, you just got to build your foundation. It's a process, the fucking process, and you got to deal with your shadow self, right? You got to integrate that shit before you can even think about going on these spiritual realms, because otherwise you're going to carry that shit with you, which is going to just project more delusion. So yeah, no more bullshit resistant to reality. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the 60s and counterculture revolution? Very interesting. Well, like I was there. Oh, yes, it was a very interesting time. Yeah, I remember hanging out with Ram Dass and Timothy Leary and the Beatles. I remember seeing them live. So, no, I think it was a very interesting time. That definitely, just the anti-establishment movement was massive, but I think that the psychedelic cult, I would say, went a little bit too far. People were a little bit too reckless with it. A lot of people had bad trips and were getting fucked up, and then it got banned, even scientifically. It was definitely very important, because there's a lot of mistakes that we did in the 60s that we're now like, all right, we're going to take this more seriously now, be more cautious. But yeah, I think it was a very profound, important time in our history, for sure. Theories of you can smoke heroin. Yeah, but it wouldn't be the real experience. And I'm not going to, of course not. I'm talking like my old, shitty, unconscious Tom, who just liked to, take drugs to escape this reality. But now I'm like complete, especially after this existential crisis, which is like really funny because it took me so far into the abyss and away from this physical reality that afterwards it made me appreciate this so much more. And I'm more, if anything, I don't want to say the word attached, but let's say that my focus is definitely more on this reality. And I love it. I freaking love it. I don't even miss things like seeing fractals and tribute. I don't care about any of that anymore, which is amazing. I love it. Of course, I catch a live stream right as I'm getting to bed. Just want to stop in and say thanks for your content, Tom. No worries. Eclipse Aurora Borealis, at this time of year, in this season, located entirely in your kitchen. Yes. Can I see it? No. Simpsons scene, in case anyone just thought I'd lost my mind then. Got experience with ketamine. Yeah, a couple. And just, yeah, like, sort of a bit of dead horse, but in terms of drug consumption, I don't take any drugs apart from the mild ones, like coffee every once in a while. Even then, I try to cut it short. I have more green tea, or I still got some coca leaf powder, which is nice. That's my preferred stimulant, but I don't like to have stimulants too much. It's like, because I have like chronic fatigue and it affects my adrenals too much. So I gotta look for more natural. I hate using the word natural, but non-substance methods to get energy. So, and for me, it's like exercise, cold showers, deep breathing. I still got a long way to go, but yeah. How much longer are you streaming? I've got to sleep soon. I don't know. How long has this thing been going for? Jesus Christ. Every time I live stream, I look back and it's like, okay, I've been streaming for over an hour, and in my end, it feels like nothing. Damn. Yeah, I like live streaming. I've got to do this. Fuck videos. Jesus. I just make myself more poor every video I make. Seriously, like the amount of time and effort it goes into just conceptualizing an idea for a video, and then the filming, and then the editing, and then the marketing and the thumbnails, and it's like, I like it. I'm going to keep doing, but I'm just saying. It seems that live streaming is the way to go. Like, I should definitely do more live streams. So I will on this channel. All right, so I'm gonna say about 10 more minutes. I'll stay on. I didn't even mean to go this long. Difference between mushrooms and ayahuasca, in your opinion? I think that they're definitely similar. I don't want to get into too much psychedelics because I'm only going to stay for a little bit longer, so I'm not going to answer any more psychedelic questions. But I'll briefly answer this one, all right? Because I'm a nice guy. Mushrooms. I think that mushrooms is more of a mystery. I think it's a more collective entity. I also think it's more of a potion. I definitely don't consider it a medicine. I think it's a potion, and I think it's has more of a confusion factor to it. Ayahuasca is more earthy, definitely more of a feminine energy. And I hope I'm not just saying this because of the preconception of Mother Ayahuasca, but I feel that it has more of feminine energy. It has like this entity thing, like it's this thing. Whereas mushrooms, it's like, what is this? It's more alien, more cosmic. You know what I mean? It takes you harder to integrate, and then definitely harder to bring back pieces of the puzzle to this reality. I'll just leave it at that. I was actually going to make a video on this like almost 2 years ago, and then Adam made one, and it's a good video, but I humbly believe that I could do a much, I don't want to say better job, but I would say I have a deeper understanding when it comes to mushrooms and ayahuasca in particularly. Anything else, of course, like he knows a lot more about DMT, LSD, this, that, but you know, he's only had one ayahuasca trip and a handful of mushroom trips, and I've had a lot of mushroom trips and a lot of ayahuasca trips on both ends of the spectrum. So I think I can do a very, very good job doing mushrooms versus ayahuasca. But again, my video time, like the time that I'm going to spend making videos, has to cut down a little bit, especially because I'm moving out and things like that. So it definitely won't happen for a while, unless Patreon people like vote on it. Then I'll do it. Okay, Stealth Raid asks, thanks for the $5, mate. You should try to make your own guided meditation video. Yes. Matt, guys, I'm gonna get knee deep into all this shit. All this shit. What's this shit mean, Tom? I mean, it's spirituality, personal growth, meditation, letting go, shadow integration. I mean, like eventually, man, who knows? I might write a book eventually, you know? And I think eventually I will work on creating courses for this stuff, because I want to dedicate a good chunk of time to really kind of sequentialize the process of many of these things, which I've just been waiting, because this last year has been more like hibernation time, you know, just kind of reorganizing this whole brand, seeing how I'm going to approach this thing, planning ideas, ways to make this more sustainable, this whole model. So things like that. That's why right now, in terms of like video making, it's definitely cutting down, because I got to focus on other stuff. Any life advice for someone who's going to be graduating high school soon? Travel as much as you can. Make as many, I don't want to say make as many mistakes as you can, but just don't worry about like, oh, I should stick with this path. And because your emotions can take a hold of you and like, oh, what am I going to do? I better stick. I'm assuming you're 18, maybe 17. Travel. And if you don't have money, go do like volunteering stuff, but just travel, meet as many people as you can and get that wisdom. 100%, that will help you so much. And it's harder to do that when you get older, especially when you start having more commitments, like relationships, mortgage, children, blah, blah, blah. And you're in deep shit with the matrix. Take advantage with your position. Travel, and meet as many people as you possibly can and learn. Do what excites you. Write a book, have a kid, and plant a tree. I'm not ready for a kid yet. Definitely not. Nah, maybe eventually, but I don't want to do it out of egoic reasons. You know what I mean? I want to do it because it's like it's time. What do you think of Till Swan? I think she's amazing. I really do. I think she's one of the few legit spiritual teachers on the internet. Her approach, especially from someone who's outside this whole realm, it looks like, oh, it's just all woo woo. Oh, she's a hippie and like, oh, what the fuck does she know? Blah 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 blah. But if you actually listen what she's saying, and I don't just mean with her words, but the who she, like the being that she is, it is so practical. It is practical fucking advice, and that's what I love. And you guys who have been following me for a while know that I'm more practical than anything. It's the most important. Yeah, but she's amazing. I think she's amazing, and I'd love to have her on a podcast. Actually, if you guys want to see her on a podcast, you should bombard her on her Twitter. Jump on the Your Mate Tom podcast. It's hard to get like high profile people on. It will get easier as I go along, especially when I get bigger people on. But for now, it's kind of hard just to fucking get to them. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna write a book, but just not yet. Before I write a book, actually, I might as well tell you guys because only a few people are gonna watch this via the live stream anyway, so it's not a lot of people are gonna know about it. But I'm gonna be doing one-on-one Skype sessions soon, and I want to build my skill more with like one-on-one communication and helping people, because I think I've been actually preparing for this my entire life. It's only right freaking now, like this cycle where I'm like, nah, it's ready to finally do it. You know, I just wasn't emotionally ready to do that kind of stuff, but I want to dive deeper into like psychology, helping people break through their barriers, integrating the shadow, and helping them on this path. I think that's like the most important, and I'd like to have a tighter community versus just continuously just focus on building my YouTube channel, which I don't really care about anymore. Like I've gotten to the stage where it's like it's kind of become its own entity, and it's just growing itself. I can just not do anything, and I'm going to continuously get subscribers and views every day. So it's a beautiful position to kind of let that aspect go and just focus more on that kind of stuff. And I want to get more experience with people in person, because I think that's where I can really, it's where my strengths really lie. Yeah. So I'm excited. And then eventually write a book and do courses and stuff. How would you describe your relationship with weed now? And how did you escape addiction to get there? I'm sorry, Sam. I'm going to make a video on this. It's just too long. Should I drop out of school? No, unless you actually have a legitimate plan. What is your most favorite self-help book or any other kinds of books and shit? 12 Rules for Life is pretty good. What else? Mastery by Robert Greene. Spiritual Materialism. I forgot who the author is, but yeah, Spiritual Materialism is pretty good. Let me check my Audible. Bhagavad Gita. That's really good. Man's Search for Meaning, especially if you're struggling with existential issues, that can help. Yeah, those are some pretty good ones. Anything to do with Tony Robbins. I don't use social media and literally made a YouTube account to rate share. That's awesome. I'm flattered. Dude, CG Kid is the shit. I'm so excited for the podcast. Yeah, he's awesome. Would you ever make videos with Dakota Wint? Well, he's been on my podcast. I don't know if you're aware of this, but yeah. Again, I want to like my vision for like your mate Tom in the later stages, especially when we get like more support on Patreon and stuff. I would love to just do these spontaneous trips. Let's say go to India, start traveling with Dakota, connecting with like spiritual masters and making epic videos and documentaries and stuff like that. Or going to America, meeting up with Koi, doing a road trip, or go to Northern Australia, hook up with Jared again, do more collaborations or documentaries on different parts of the world. Like that's one of my, like not the next milestone, but the one after that. So yeah, if you want to help with that vision, feel free to pledge on Patreon. I'll definitely make those videos possible. Right now, I can't. Yeah, over Skype, sure we can, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Tom, don't you feel like weed has a hypnotic effect and make you forget about things you want to do or not care about as much? Oh, 100%. 100%. My ego's biggest defense system, actually, throughout my whole life has been not giving a fuck. And weed makes it even worse. So, yeah. I still struggle to kind of completely remove myself from the seductive trickster of Mary Jane. Especially because I've had such a long history with it. But it gets easier over time for sure. And my relationship has changed, but I also know that's egoic bullshit when we say like, yeah, but my emotion has changed. But it's like, yeah, but you're still taking a drug to feel good. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. Tricky stuff. But yeah, it definitely makes me more hazy for sure. Fucks with my short-term memory. Like I genuinely believe that if I didn't smoke weed in my life, I would be a lot smarter. Like it actually dumbed me down for sure. But considering you got to think of like the amount of weed that I've smoked and how young I started smoking, where it actually does affect your brain. So yeah, where did you get this fucking awesome shirt? It's YMT merch. Check the description, bruz or sis. Great idea on the Skype sesh. Hey, Tom, I just want to say thank you for all the videos and help you've provided to the world. I think your channel is one of the best. Thanks, man. I'm just getting started on this. Like, imagine now, like, if you guys have liked my videos and content now, imagine this next chapter where I'm actually going to have my own space. Like, next shit, man. Next level shit. How do you do Audible? Go check the description box. Okay. Okay, I'm going now. It's been over almost an hour and a half. And I don't mind, but I also got to do some work. I'm actually I've got my first sponsorship for the podcast, which is exciting, which is going to help with the funds and continuing this podcast. So I'm going to put more time into that. Very exciting. Very exciting. Yep. Anyways, but if you want to get this merch, I've got it in black, white, hoodies, singlets, and it's cool because it kind of reminds us, it's like, yeah, we're divine beings, right? But we also have animalistic roots, which we'll never be able to completely separate from. And this is the part that we need to integrate. So this design actually means a lot to me. And it's so cool because one of my best friends designed it for me. It was actually my old guitarist from my old band. And yeah, he was very kind enough to do it for free. I want to do one like this, but a cow next. I just got to save up money and get it. But yeah, it's really cool. I like it. It's my favorite merch so far. And it's non-psychedelic, which I really like. So I'm going to focus more on that. Anyways, good luck with life, Tom. Good luck with life, all of yous. Thank you. Before I go, join our private Discord server if you're interested. Check out the link in the description box below from Patreon. We built a really cool community over there, which we're going to keep on working on. So, yeah, if you want to talk to us on there, feel free. Until then, catch you later, guys. How do I turn this off? All right, peace.